Hey guys, welcome to another Formula One update. So yesterday at the Italian Grand Prix, we had Max setting the race record. Well, the he won in terms of qualifying, so he qualified one off to a bad start, really. There was like a couple things happened actually, but just for copyright, and I won't really. I'll try to get the best of what I can. It'll probably be a short video because last time we had some copyright issues. So let's just go through it really quickly. So here, yeah, sorry about that. I'm using the
Did you get caught unprepared for the elements? You need the bearskin tactical hoodie 4.0. It's
There's some issues on lap one. Lando trying to overtake didn't really happen off the road here. The interesting thing that happened in the race was a pit stop between Lando's team messed up the pit stop. I think it was I says it was probably around lap 47. Yeah, here it is. So Lando's team messed up the split stop. So he was winning here around lap 46. So I'll bring you guys through it. So lap 46, this is what happened. Lost the race here. So his team caused him to lose the race. And then Piastri was ready to overtake him. Yeah, but then the team made a decision to let Lando go first because it cost him the race. So it was just a minor shift in driver standing. If he won the race, it would have been like a 10-point difference. Then Max would have been second. So then he would have closed the lead to yeah, to close the lead to like 20 points, but no, he's just by 30. Yeah, it's just bad luck for Norris. His driving abilities too, but just bad luck. But I think he has time. Max won the race. Let's see if Ken Lando. Yeah, let's see if he can win the championship. I mean, it's just a bit of bad luck. But also him as a driver. So let's hear this guy's explanation. Yeah, let's hear this explanation.
Before I get into the video, I want to quickly announce that I am now part of a new F1 podcast called the Crash Happy Podcast.
Yeah,
It
follow this
features
guy on
Daniel Skill,
YouTube.
Not Applicable, Mr. V's Garage, Mr. Pulse, and myself. And while I couldn't make it to the first episode, please go watch it regardless, as it's a great way of learning more about us and just a good old time talking about F1. But I will feature in the next episode of it, so stay tuned, everyone. Anyways, I finally returned to the pond to create new videos after a week, and I gotta say, holy shit. After missing some good old quality time at Laguna Seca for the horrible spa race, I believed F1 is never worth it over that, but now, maybe. So first up, apologies for not covering the Dutch weekend, but we will be back next video for the Monza winners and losers. Now, McLaren, my favorite team on the grid, and by favorite, I mean favorite to rip on, but that's not what I'm going to talk about today, mostly. During the race at Zandvoort, we all saw that Lando Norris, in the year of our Lord and Savior 2025, experienced an engine failure, which now puts him super far back to pastry in the title, 34 points to be exact, by the way, and only on 2 occasions has a driver made up that deficit or larger to win the title. So in other words, Lando Norris is so beyond cooked. Or is he? Now, I'm not going to make a video glazing Lando being like, he's actually so good and it's a team working against him, because anyone with a single brain cell in their head will know that that is complete nonsense. Instead, I'm just going to have some fun here and tell you, the audience, how Lando can realistically win the title still. The video will not be like the Ferrari one I did a couple weeks back, since that one was purely lighthearted fun. No, for this one, I'm going to take this serious, because I don't know what it is. Maybe it was the vacation, but now I am genuinely invested in this title fight. It took me going outside and touching grass to finally understand this season. I have been a pouty prick all season long, not taking this fight seriously, but I get it now. F1 title flights seldom come. Why am I complaining about this one? I need to appreciate it, so here I am appreciating it. Don't get it twisted though, the McLaren drivers still have many flaws, especially in this season. Anyways, after Lando's DNF, he is now 34 points behind Oscar Piastri, and with 9 races left in the season, a comeback is a very tall order. So in an ideal universe where Lando unlocks his ultra instinct and stops bottling from now till then, let us see how Lando Norris can realistically still win the title. Go join the Discord to cope if you're not a McLaren fan, and subscribe if you're new to avoid eternal damnation. So enough yapping, and let's get to quacking.
A good weather for a race, but especially for a talk.
So before I get into the imagination yapping, I must yap the facts from the season. I'll only briefly recap the season, so don't worry. Anyways, heading into 2025, McLaren had an unholy amount of expectation on them. They had come out of seemingly nowhere. I think it's pretty reasonable to say that in terms of who deserves it more, it's generally Piastri. I mean,
I think we have to just admit Piastri is the better driver. Yeah, there's a lot of things that have to go right for Lando to win. Just overall as a driver.
obviously who finishes first deserves it more since the seasons are long, but I mean, come on. Piastri isn't out here every week trying to one-up himself in bottles. Piastri has straight up been the more cleaner and consistent driver this year compared to Lando. We could sit here and say, well, actually Lando was faster than him, but the reality is, Piastri is winning, Lando is not. But despite me saying this, Piastri is not perfect either and is very far from it. I mean, let me put it like this. If Piastri was so good like everyone says he is, why has it taken him a DNF or Lando for him to finally have some breathing room in the standings? Lando has bottled all season long, but despite that, he stayed close to Piastri all season long until now, which kind of tells me that Piastri maybe wasn't doing enough. He should have won more over Lando if he really is as good as some people say, and now lose out to Lando on most occasions. Because here's the hard truth, when Lando isn't bottling, which I know is rare, he's more often than not ahead of Oscar. Oscar definitely should have had Lando more in a chokehold throughout the season and not have a DNF for Lando to finally put him ahead comfortably. It's one thing where both drivers are close to each other, practically pushing each other on the track, something like Lewis and Max or Lewis and Nico, and it's another where in every race it's one driver ahead by like 10 plus seconds. The only races in my opinion where both drivers were genuinely close to each other and fighting for everything with no major strategy differences or bad luck for the most part were in Melbourne, Austria, and here in Zandvoort, two of which by the way were won by Lando. For me to be fully sold on the Piastri hype train, I just need to see him fully have Lando in a headlock when he isn't bottling. But you know, at least I have some respect for Oscar. When it comes to Lando, however, yeah, no. I mean, the previous sentence before the one I literally said spelt it, when he isn't bottling. It's a regular occurrence at this point, which always sets back my perception of Norris. Right when I start to think this guy isn't so bad, he does some stupid bullshit that sets himself back for no reason. And even when he isn't bottling, sometimes he's just pretty slow, kind of like last week. Lando adores this track, but he couldn't touch Piastri all race long, and the DNF was really just an added heartache. I saw people say this could be his Malaysia 2016 moment as he loses the title here, but that could be any race this season. Lewis was actually going to win Malaysia before his engine blew up. Lando was instead jerking off to Piastri's ass, and the DNF was really just rubbing it in his face. So I don't want to hear none of that I am biased against Oscar and favor Lando bullshit, because I do not. To put it simply, I have some mild respect for Oscar and just wish he could do more, and I want to respect Lando's game, but boy does he make it hard. So basically, the state of the title is Oscar looks set to win it, and rightfully so, while Lando needs to go back to the drawing board quickly if he wants to become champion, which luckily for him, I am the drawing board. Just like with the Ferrari video, I have a Google sheet and I'll detail the races left along with the points the driver score. So to get some stuff out the way, we have to set some rules to follow. Number one, we have to assume Lando stops bottling these races and does the maximum he can do. Number two, from now to the end of the season, McLaren has to win every race, so no surprise Max, George, Ferrari win unfortunately. Number three, we have to realistically think how these races will go, so no Lewis bowling half the field to death. Okay, so with that said, let's see Monza. Monza goes like this. Lando wants his lick back for last year since Oscar probably stopped his chances for the title last year. Lando slaps his dick on pole and dominates that race from not Oscar, but Charles, since this is Monza, so Charles had to get his home buff. Oscar will instead finish in third, but he will be close to Charles. However, Oscar doesn't have to wait long for a win again, since in Baku, just like last year, he'll perform pretty solid. I think Baku will be a pretty chaotic race, all things considered, that will feature two safety cars, but given how fast McLaren are, they will avoid all chaos. So Oscar wins from Lando in P2, who probably was like 2 seconds behind him. Singapore, just like last year again, will be won by Lando Norris, and it will be no competition from the rest of the field. Everything about Singapore screams McLaren, which will lead to an easy 1-2 for the team. Oscar in this race will be fast, don't get me wrong, but he will be behind Lando, and considering the track we are on, he will find it difficult to get ahead of him. No one cares for the sprint, so here you go for the results. And for the main race, let's just say, Max kinda wants to win again, so from second on the grid, he takes Piastri wide, who has none of it, and tries to find Max all the way through, which may or may not give him front wing damage. Max gets a 10-second penalty, while Piastri has to fight fight his way back from the back now. Lando obviously wins this one from Charles again. Sorry, I have no shame in starting Ferrari here. And Oscar finishes in third. I think it's fair to say Oscar is pretty pissed about Coda. So for Mexico, Oscar cracks open the coldest Modelo he could find and cruises to victory in that race. Lando was still finishing second, but hey, at least he wasn't bullied by Max this time. Brazil sprint race, no one cares, blah 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 blah. And for the main race, it'll be good, but McLaren will be better, which leads to a 1-2, and Lando taking home this one after needing to prove himself after last year's shenanigans. Oscar finishes behind, who at this point is still very much in with a shot, which is only reinforced in Vegas since Pastry takes home this dub, but pesky little Lando's not bottling anymore, so he still finishes behind in second, not too far off of him. And for the last time, Qatar Sprint then Owen Care Sport, and for the main race, big things will happen. By this point, Lando is still 17 points down on Pastry with his 453 points to Oscar's 470. It does look mighty jober for Lando, but he has to start swinging if he wants hope. So while he doesn't crash Oscar out, at some point in the race when they're miles ahead of the field, Lando fights with Oscar rough, which leads to damage on both cars, but where Lando has light front wing damage that's fine to carry on, Oscar is missing a more sizable chunk of it and needs to pit. This relegates him to fourth, but he does come back to finish third, while Lando narrowly wins from Charles in second, who can catch up to him post damage. Again, I have no shame in starting Charles where I can, but now for Abu Dhabi. The gap is exactly 7 points with Oscar still leading. All Oscar needs to do now is ensure Lando stays behind him, or at least not allow him to score 7 points, because during this semi-fictional season, Lando now has more wins than Oscar, so even if they tie on points, Lando will win on countback, so Oscar needs to secure Lando to a leash. However, this post-Zandvoort Lando is absolutely
It'd be a tall climb. I think this race kind of changed it. We probably need a couple things going in Lando's favor, like couple drivers not performing, like couple drivers performing, right? Some odd races. But I'm not sure if he can beat Piastri. I'm not sure.
unleashable and knows exactly what he needs to do, despite Oscar maybe trying some funny business with Lando. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You're a little too into this for a man who supposedly hates Lando, and I know, let me explain. You may have seen some posts from me declaring my allegiance to House Norris, but that's because of one thing. It would be peak, come on now. Imagine Lando does come back from this. It would be pretty awesome, don't you lie now. Plus, I don't know, I have a thing for unreasonable odds. I'm literally a Ferrari fan, so it should come to no one's surprise that I want Lando to win from second. But that's literally it. If we're being real, Pastry should rightfully win the title because he isn't bottling as much and can actually keep a car on the road, except for that moment. But anyways, that's how Lando can still win the title. I just want to close out with this thought. No matter who wins it, let's be real, we're all going to be disappointed, and come on man, that's just not fair to the drivers. Since 1999, we have had generational talents win the title. Michael Schumacher, 7-time world champion and one of, if not the best to have ever do it. Fernando Alonso and Kimi Raikkonen, 2-time and 1-time world champions respectively, and one of the fastest drivers this sport has ever seen. Sebastian Vettel, 4-time world champion and a super focused and quick driver, before Ferrari at least. Lewis fucking Hamilton, 7-time world champion statistically and probably the best to have ever done it. Max Verstappen, 4-time world champion and a rightful successor to Lewis in terms of sheer pace and dominance over the field. Sure, you had people like Jensen in 2009, who, let's be real now, kinda would have never won the championship if not for Braun and Honda, yes, even in his McLaren years, and Russell.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, guys. But yeah, that's the F1 update. Yes, stay tuned. Check out one of our sponsors. This new app, this new tool called Rightly Chief. .com, guys. Check this out. So yeah, rightchief.com, Rightly Ultimate AI chat box. Coding AI message generator, image generator, coding chat box, speech, messaging, so on. Yeah, check this out. Also, jobslineup.com, help with interviews, getting jobs, applying for jobs. So check this out. Yeah, these are some of our sponsors. Check them out, give them a quick view. All right, thanks guys for watching.